Well, a very good morning to you. Hello. Thank you for joining us on this live coverage of the Swim England East Midlands Region Long Course Championships, day number 4, live from Moorways Sports Village in Derby. Brand new 10-lane, 50-metre facility, open less than a year, and host to the bulk of these championships. Of course, we're also at Corby for the younger events, so swimmers aged 14 and under will not be represented in the pool this weekend. They were either at Corby last weekend or will be at Corby in a couple of weekends' time. 2 heat sessions today, followed by a set of finals this evening, and the events that we've got to bring you over the course of the morning: the men's 100 free, women's 100 fly, men's 200 back, women's 400 IM, men's 50 fly, women's 200 breast will round off the session. But in just a couple of minutes' time, less than that actually, we should be starting with the 100 free. 11 heats of this event. Our first heat with just 3 swimmers. And in lane 3, Cian Saville for Daventry, 4 Max Davies for Worksop, and 5 Bruce D for Northampton. All 3 of these swimmers are para swimmers. Now, at these championships, we have what we call para-inclusive events, which means that the para swimmers swim within the able-bodied events. However, there is a separate para result at the end based on para points. And the para points are based on how close each swimmer gets to the world record in their respective class. So Cian Saville in lane 3 is S10, Max Davies in lane 4 is S9, and Bruce D in lane 5 is S6. The British records that they're looking for: Max Davies S9 British record is 56.29. As he comes into the wall to take first in the first heat there. And the finish times I'll get you in just a second. And we tend to usually use over-the-top starts for events like this, but when we have a heat of para swimmers like that, we will clear the water just to make sure that everybody is able to get out and then get in safely. So this next heat is predominantly able-bodied swimmers. We do still have 2 para-swimmers on either side. Owen Johnson in 0 and Kai Gelsthorpe in 8 are both swimming in the S10 category here. But otherwise, lane 0 is Owen Johnson for Repton, 1 Hussein Adelblame for Notts Leander, 2 Jamie Love for Nova Centurion, Jensen Hilton for City of Lincoln is in 3, 4 Jake Adams for Louth, 5 Max Holland for Nova, 6 Charlie Jeans for Repton, 7 is Tobias Hughes for Notts Leander, 8 is Kai Gelsthorpe for Derby Excel. And 25 metres left to go, tight in the centre between 4, 5 and 6. Adams, Holland and Jeans as they approach the wall, which they have done there. And hopefully this will show you, fortunately for some reason it's not quite showing you the names at the moment on our graphic, but it will at least show you the times there, and I'll fix the names in just a moment. As we move on to the third heat here.
In lane 0 is David Bursa, walks up. Lane 1, Jared Collins, Nova Centurion. Lane 2, Dylan Jameson, Repton. Lane 3, Sam Mason, Repton. Lane 4, Connor Allen, Wellingworth. Lane 5, Amanda Fing, Rushden. Lane 6, Harry Master, Belmont. Lane 7,
So lane 0 in this one, David Bucher for Works Up. Jared Collins of Nova is in lane number 1. 2, Dylan Jameson for Repton. 3, Sam Mesa for Repton. Connor Allen of Wellingborough is in 4. 5, Aman Tethi for Rushden. 6, Harry Maskery for Balpermarlin. Northampton Eden Rowe is in 7. 8, Andrew Edgar for Chesterfield. 9, Oliver Stone for Ripley. Into the last 5 metres. And we'll show you those results in just a second.
A good swim there. It's third heat.
As we move on to our 4th heat of the 100 freestyle. Zero in this one is Tyler Hollyman for Wellingborough. 1, Joshua Clark for Grantham. Alex Sadler for South Links in 2. Jake Bort for Sutton in 3. 4, Tyler Holland for the City of Leicester. Oscar Goldsmith of South Links is in 5. 6, Ewan Hayes Wormel for Works Up. 7, Zach Frisbee for Radford. Harry Pryor for Works Up is in 8. 9 is Cole Angel for Kettering.
And slot lane 4 turning first there. Tyler Holland, City of Leicester, sorry. Yeah, so City of Leicester. Not much between him and lane 5 though, Oscar Goldsmith of City.
And coming into the last 15 on this 4th heat. Once again, very difficult to pick a leader. I think 2 might take this one. Alex Sadler from South Links enters on a 58.20. We'll show you his finish time in just a moment. And it's right there, 57.59 for Alex Sadler. Goldsmith was 2nd with a 57.6 and Tyler Holland 3rd. Fifth heat is go. Henry Crust of the City of Lincoln goes in 0. Flynn Mulligan for Repton in 1. Joseph Greaves for Nova Centurion in 2. 3 is Jamie Green for the City of Lincoln. 4, Guillermo Sierraville for Chesterfield. Elliot Barker for Northampton in 5. 6, Alfie Bisbee for South Link. 7, Harry Milne for Repton. 8 is Alexander Menschitskin for Kettering. And Evan Hawley for Nova Centurion is in lane 9. Turning first there seemed to be lane 8. Alexander Menschitskin from Kettering, and he's got 25 to go as Harry Milne in 7 starts to pull level and possibly past. Into the last 5, and completely impossible for me to call. As I did mention on yesterday's stream, I am in a cupboard with no access to anything, and unfortunately the online scoreboard hasn't yet kicked into gear, so I'm not able to bring you stuff straight away, but the results graphics we do believe to be correct today. So Harry Milne there with the win, 56.64. And we move on to heat 6. This one has Callum Quirk of Leander in 0, Daniel Walker for Nova Centurion in 1, Max Shaw for the Uni of Nottingham in 2. 3, Joseph Parnell for the City of Lincoln. 4, Jacob Hamblin for Derby Excel. Laurel Roberts Burrell for Leander is in 5. 6, Ewan Cox for the City of Lincoln. 7 is Archie Dandy for the City of Leicester. Albert Mulshire for Rushton is in 8. 9 is Luke Stevens for the City of Leicester. Turning at halfway for clearly in the lead here. Clearly in the lead as well. That is Jacob Hamlin from Derby Excel enters on a 56.39. That's only 1/100th ahead of Laurel Roberts Burrell on paper. But as they approach the wall, there's no doubt about the fact that it is going to be Jacob Hamlin who wins this heat. Into the wall. And the winning time there from Hamlin, 55.63. Well, that was a fantastic swim if that was his PB that he entered on. Even so, still impressive. As we move on to the 7th heat here. Lewis Shorthose for Mansfield in 0. George Cummings for Leander in 1. Tyler Coles for Daventry in 2. Leo Pollock for Repton in 3. 4, Lane Keewer for Bassett Law. George Whittle for Derby Excel in 5. 6, Oliver Coville for the City of Leicester. 7, Callum Kettlewell for Bassett Law. 8, Sammy Prizer for the City of Leicester. 9, Mario Vasconcelos Blanche for Northampton. So we just saw a 55.6 in the last heat. Lane Keyworth is entered on 55.79 from lane 4. And we have already turned through halfway, approaching the final wall. And it's, well, very, very difficult to call. This could come from lane 0 potentially. Lewis Shorthose looks well on the far end, or maybe somebody in one of the centre lanes got there instead. Final time for George Whittle was the one who got there first, actually, from lane 5, 55.46 for the Derby Excel swimmer. Oliver Coville second, Tyler Coles third, and just 6/100ths between second and third, only 1/100th between third and fourth. As we move to heat 8.
Lane 0 is Carl Merriweather, Radford. Lane 1, Thomas Bruce, South Links. Lane 2, James
0 in this one is Kyle Merriweather for Radford. Thomas Bruce for South Links is in 1. 2 is James Berry for Radford. 3, Elliot Sibley for Nova Centurion. 4, is Jack Stretton for Colville. Callum Melville for Nova is in 5. 6, Rico Bringeman for Southlink. 7, Thomas Summer for Hinckley. 8 is Thomas Boyd for Northampton. 9 is Oliver Osborne for Derby Excel. So approaching the wall, and again, well, that is anybody's guess as to what that could be.
Heat 9.
And now we're on to the cyclical heats. Heat 9 of the 100 freestyle. Daniel Oide-Nichols for Nova Centurion goes in 0. 1, Cameron Jameson for Repton. Ashley Donaldson for Loughborough Uni in 2. 3, Daniel Jenkus for Loughborough Uni. 4, Jake Hutchinson for the City of Leicester. 5, Adam Metcalf for Loughborough Uni. 6, Max Upton for Loughborough Uni. 7 is Ethan Riches for the City of Lincoln. 8 is Charlie Miller for Skegness. 9 is Jake Franz for Worksop. And because this is cyclical, we would expect Jake Hutchinson here to swim particularly well. 51.20 was his entry time. And that is, well, half a second ahead of Adam Metcalf in 5 on paper. But that is just a theory, really, because Metcalf is certainly going with Hutchinson here as they approach the wall at very similar times. I think that Hutchinson did just about enough, but we will see on the final result. He didn't. It was Adam Metcalf, 52.20, so 4 100ths ahead of Jake Hutchinson. Daniel Jenkus, third.
Heat 10. Lane 0, George Moore, City of Leicester.
10th heat is go. George Moore for the City of Leicester is in 0. 1 is James Gannicott for the City of Leicester. Loughborough have Alexander Casey in 2. Ben Blowers in 3. Michael Ripper in 4. Thomas Exel in 5. Joshua Goh in 6. And Aidan Cook in 7. Nova have Joseph Kingsland in 8. And 9 is Thomas Stevens for Daventry. Ripper in the centre over first there. And over first relatively comfortably, though he does have Thomas Exel to his right-hand side trying to stick with. We saw lane 5 take the win in the last heat. As we approach the wall, it is Ripper that must have got there first. We'll see the result there, 51.84 for Michael Ripper to take the touch. Second was Thomas Exel in a 52.1, and Alexander Casey was third in that penultimate heat of this 100 freestyle. And the final heat is now go, heat 11 of the 100 free. 0, Sam Cook for Corby. Lewis Warner for Leander is in 1. 2, Alexander Harrand for Derby Excel. 3, Tom Truman for Nova Centurion. 4, Jacob Mills for the City of Leicester. 5, Luke Iverson for Loughborough Uni. Ruben West of Loughborough Uni is in 6. 7, Jack Fleming for Loughborough Uni. 8, Max Balderson for Rushton. 9, Jacob Lee for the City of Leicester.
Lane 3, Tom Truman, Nova. Lane 4, Jacob Mills, City of Leicester. Lane 5, Luke Wilson, Loughborough Uni. Lane 6, also.
Well, Jacob Mills is very, very fast. He won the junior final at British Champs earlier on in April. He is only 15 years of age. Swimming is a 16-year-old, but hasn't had his 16th birthday yet. So that means that he is eligible to break the British age group record for a 15-year-old, which is 50.14. And that is not impossible at all for him. That said, it is Luke Ibbison who seems to be leading here, and Ruben West in 6 seems to be in 2nd position as they approach 5 metres, though Mills pulling further forwards towards the end there. They're all into the wall. And the winning time there was Luke Ibbison, 52.30, so way off that 50-point entry. But of course, Mills didn't need to go super quick there, I don't think. 53.02 for him to take 2nd. 3rd, Ruben West. And we should be moving now to our next event. This the girls 15 years and over 100 fly.
E1.
First heat about to get underway. 0 in this one is Amber Haycock for Rushton. Nova have Amelia Roberts in 1, Moran in 2. Eva Matthias for Repton is in 3. 4, Jessica Wright for Bramcote. 5, Charlotte Hodgim for the City of Lincoln. 6 is Emily Monga for Nova Centurion. 7, Ruby Maiden for Sherwood. 8 is Eliza Humphrey for Northampton. And 9 is Eva Lemon for Derby Phoenix. Haycock is S10, she's in lane 0, and Humphrey is S11, she is in lane 8. S11 means that you have a visual impairment. S10 means that you have a physical impairment of varying nature. The 100 fly British record for the S11s is 119.96 and is 106.94 for the S10. And the swimmers coming into the wall. As I said, unfortunately, the live web board not working currently, so not able to bring you the times in real time until they pop up on our screens just like that. Emma ran to that heat in 1:14.11. Eva Matthias 2nd. Ruby Maiden 3rd. And we will move in just a moment to heat 2. Sophie Morsey for Boston is in 0. 1 is Harriet Dickerson for Nova. 2, Grace Wingham for Kettering. 3, Paige Dyche for Swadlincote. 4, Chloe Powell for Rushton. 5, Sophie Martin for Chesterfield. 6 is Lily Hamilton for South Links. Emily Wynne for the City of Leicester is in 7. 8 is Gracie May Cole for the City of Lincoln. And 9 is Lucinda Norris for the City of Leicester. Lane 2 was over first at that turn. Grace Wingham for Kettering enters on a 1:13.57. That's almost a full second behind behind Chloe Powell in lane 4. 2 Northamptonshire swimmers leading here though, and Chloe Powell starting to Sophie Martin is leading in 5. It is Martin who is going to take the touch in this heat without too much trouble at all in the end. Not first over at 50, but certainly first in to the wall. Finish time for Martin, 1:11.67. Second was Lily Hamilton. Emily Wynn third. As we move to heat 3. Zero in this one is Annabelle Russell for the City of Leicester. Niamh Burstein for Carlton Forum is in 1. 2, Olivia Marshall for Derby Excel. 3, Casey Cleaver for the City of Lincoln. 4 is Francesca Polfrey for Loughborough. 5, Evelyn Jackson for Bassett Law. 6 is Rebecca Darrington for Radford. 7 is Rihanna Wright for Mansfield. 8, Tegan Gray for Gainsborough. 9 is Rowan White for Rushden. And some names have appeared on my screen, so with a bit of luck, I can even bring you splits. What a luxury that'll be. It is 32.86 for Rebecca Darrington in lane 6 to turn first at 50. And coming into the wall now, it should still be 6. Rebecca Darrington touches first in 1:10.50. Well, that is a good chunk under her entry time, almost a full second, 0.98 of a second underneath it. Second, Casey Cleaver with a 1:10.87. And that's an improvement too. And then third is Evelyn Jackson. Moving on to our fourth heat now. 0 in this one will be Erin Lee for Nova Centurion. Emily Gibbs for Radford in 1. Jessica O'Harley for South Links in 2. 3, Holly Robinson for Repton. 4, Libby Walsh for Swadlincote. 5, Harriet Casey for Corby. 6, Evie Turner for Grantham. 7, Amy Willets for Melton Mowbray. 8, Hannah Clay for Radford. 9, Rose Dickerson for Nova Centurion. Seems like we do have a swimmer just being attended to by the lifeguards, so we will wait just a moment to make sure that they're okay before we continue with the race. And race seems to be ready to continue.
In lane 0, Erin Lee over. Lane 1, lane 2, Jessica O'Harley, South Links.
All the swimmers in this heat, besides 4, on a 109.1960 is the fastest seed in. That's Libby Walsh in lane 4. And approaching the 50-metre turn, looks like lane 3 is going to get there first. Holly Robinson turns in 32.61 to be first to 50. 32.99 for Harriet Casey to turn second. 25 metres to go, and this is a good swim from Holly Robinson in lane 3. She has a body length on the rest of the pool, and she wasn't necessarily expecting that, not being in the middle here. 109.70, but a 10th behind Libby Walsh, which isn't a great deal really on an entry time as they approach the wall. It is Holly Robinson first, 106.70. Wow, that's down from a 109. So, in fact, that is exactly to the 100th, 3 seconds faster than her entry time. I think that was a cracking swim there from Holly Robinson of Repton.
Heat 5.
4 heats to go. This is heat number 5. As we move through this programme, 0 is Poppy Scotchbrook for the City of Leicester. Chloe Daybell for Nova in 1. 2, Evie Wood for Braunston. Derby Excel have Millie King in 3. 4, Alice Marriott for Repton. 5, Grace Turner for Grantham. 6 is Elise Kendall for Corby. 7, Isabel Sharp for Northampton. 8, Mia Copping for Lincoln Vulcans. 9, Ellie Smeaton for the Uni of Nottingham. Turning first at 50. Well, there's no clear winner like there was in the last one. 31.75. Fastest 50 metre split there for Isabel Sharp from Northampton. But certainly no guarantee that she's going to get there first. Only 0.07 ahead of Elise Kendall of Corby at that turn. And Kendall pulling through, but also lanes 4 and 3. King in 3, Marriott in 4, swimming well too. First to the wall was Millie King, 108.27. 108.42 for Alice Marriott. So less than 2 tenths between those two. Elise Kendall third with a 108.83. Pretty tight. 5th heat of the 100 flight. And now we are on to our cyclical heats, the ones where we jumble the swimmers up to make the finals that bit more exciting. 0 in this one is Olivia Beard for Nova. Elise Collins of Chesterfield is in 1. 2, Alyssa Lowe for the City of Leicester. 3, Iona Colbert for Nova. 4, Maisie Elliott for Loughborough. 5 is Amy Davies for the Uni of Nottingham. 6, Kate Morris for Nova. 7, Helen Sharrett for Derby Phoenix. 8, Ellie Tennant for Derby Excel. 9, Mia Matthews for Northampton.
Lane 6, Kate Morris, Nova. Lane 7, Helen Sharrett, Derby Phoenix. And lane 9, Mia Matthews, Northampton.
So, heat 6 then.
Well, turning first at 50. Almost impossible for me to see on the screen there. Luckily, though, I can give you the split, and it was 30.32 for Amy Davies in lane 5 to turn first. Second, well, that was Helen Sharrett in 7, and hardly anything separated them at 50, but a lot more is going to separate them at 100. Remember, Maisie Elliott will be the 3rd fastest seed into the competition, so no surprise to see her swimming well here. 102.68 for the Loughborough University swimmer. Amy Davies is second, and she's a couple of seconds behind her with a 104.29. 105.73 for Iona Colbert puts her in 3rd place.
Heat 7.
7th heat, penultimate heat of this 100 fly. Sarah Davidson of Loughborough Town is in 0. Eleanor Broughton for Repton in 1. City of Leicester have Olivia Hunter in 2 and Millie Wells in 3. 4, Constance Phillips for Nova. 5, Asia Coe for Derby Excel. 6, Grace Conroy for Repton. 7, Olivia Anstey for Louv. 8, Poppy Mead for Derby Excel. 9, Darcy Platts for the City of Leicester. 101.20 for Constance Phillips as an entry time. We're going to see Georgina Pryor in the next heat, and she is under a minute, so it's going to take quite the swim from someone else here if they want to take the gold medal away from Georgina Pryor in the final this evening. But for now, all about qualifying to get into that final. 25 metres to go, and Constance Phillips does pass 25 first. She went sub 30 to the wall, 29.87, and there's no doubt really about the fact that Phillips is going to take this race into the wall in a time of 1:03.56. So slower than Maisie Elliott went in the previous heat, but should be more than enough to get into the final tonight. Grace Conroy is second. Olivia Hunter is third. 1:04.7 and a 1:05.0. And heat 8 is the final heat of the 100 fly. Rosie Smith for the Uni of Nottingham in 0. Charlotte Wright for Louth in 1. Anna Farrow for the City of Leicester in 2. 3. Anna Stansfield for the Uni of Nottingham. 4. Georgina Pryor for Derby Excel. 5. Henrietta Dumassa for Repton. 6 is Katie Maloney for Louth. Derby Excel have Anna Tyers in 7. Katie Held in 8. 9 is Sophie Baker for Chesterfield. Georgina Pryor enters on that 59.77, the only swimmer here to enter on a time underneath the minute barrier. Very, very difficult barrier to break in 100 butterfly swimming. And there is no doubt about the fact that she's going to win this heat. No doubt at all. 59.77, her entry time she actually set last year at British Championships. So 2022, so it's a year or so old. As she approaches the wall, the finish time for Pryor is 1:02.07. That'll put her in lane 4 tonight. Second, Henrietta Dumassa, 1:04.53. Anna Farrow third. But if we go based on heat swims, the final could be pretty tight between Pryor and Elliott. It really could. Just depends what form each of them are on.
Next up is event 403, the men's 15 years and over 200 metre backstroke. So we'll just have a minute while we enjoy watching the officials putting the backstroke foot blocks in.
So we do have backstroke this morning, and that means the installation of the backstroke start devices, which does take a little bit of time. I'm sure we'll be up and running again in just a moment.
Heat 1.
Ready to start then with heat 1. Just 8 swimmers in this first heat.
Lane 2, James Douglas, Swadlincote. Lane 3 is Jack Zavika, Grantham. Lane 4,
1 is Nicholas Saku Pavola for Nova. In 2, James Duggan for Swadlincote. Three, Jack Zavarica for Grantham. 4, Cole Webster for Derby Excel. 5, Jensen Hilton for the City of Lincoln. In 6, it's Ruben Fox Kirkham for the City of Leicester. And lane 7, Joseph Laurie for Nova. And lane 8 is William Taylor for Louth.
Lane 1 is Nicholas Pavola, Oak Centurion. That is Cole Webster turning in 1:10.2. So 2:25 possibly. That's the first. Might be a little quicker.
Over first at halfway was Cole Webster in lane 4, 110.20, 110.91 for Salco Pavola over in lane 1, put him in second place, and it's going to be tight between these two at 50. I think that Webster is still going to be ahead. He certainly is. 147.29 to 147.95. So over half a second between them, closer to a second, really. And now into the last 25. It is going to be Cole Webster here. I'd be surprised if Salco Pavola can pull something out here as they approach the wall. It is Cole Webster in 2:29.37. Second, Salco Pavola in 2:24.08. Third, Joseph Laurie in 2:26.93. Heat 2 coming up. 0, Harrison Clark for Nova. 1, Lewis Fitch for the City of Leicester. 2, Harris Kingston for the City of Lincoln. 3, Oliver Sorrell for South Links. 4 is Harry Milne for Repton. 5, Ewan Hayes Wormald for Worksop. 6 is Alfie Lynch for Derby Phoenix. 7, Tyler Hollyman for Wellingborough. 8, Aaron Simpson for Long Eaton. 9 is Dylan Jameson for Repton.
Yeah, the backstroke wedges really are a lot of fun for the officials. And as I said, everywhere we go, each court has different wedges with different mechanisms and different holes to put things in. We have to go on a little course, you know. At each court, we do a little demonstration for the backstroke wedges. Heat 2.
Ready to go for this second heat then. Already read you the swimmers. But there they are, just in case you need a quick reminder.
Lane 0 is Harrison Clark, over. Lane 1, Lewis Fitch, City of Leicester. Lane 2, Harry Kingston, City of Lincoln. Lane 3, Oliver Sorrell, South Links. Lane 4, Harry Milne, Repton. Lane 5, Ewan Hayes Wormald from Worksop. Lane 6, Alfie Lynch, Derby Phoenix. Lane
turning first here. Could be lane 9 actually, or maybe it'll be 4 and 5. 32.86 for Harry Milne to turn first. 32.89 for Oliver Sorrell to turn second. And then 33 flat for Dylan Jameson out in lane 9. So pretty tight at 50. Milne enters on 220.90 versus Jameson, who is certainly keeping up at 50 and turns in 223. Sorry, enters on 223.60. So 3 seconds difference between them on the finish of the 200. Well, I tell you what, Sorrell is not letting Milne away here. 108.41 for Milne at 100. 108.44 for Sorrell at 100. 100th of a second separated them on that last turn, and Jameson sticking in there as well. 108.6. So he's only 0.2 of a second behind them. .145.11. Milne a little bit more in control at that turn, and now is starting to make a move, but keep your eye on 6 as well. Alfie Lynch with a last minute dash for the top here. 145.35 he turned in, and he's going to touch in what time here? 220.61 for Harry Milne. Second, Alfie Lynch in lane 6. Dylan Jameson with that great swim on the outside. 223.40. Into the third heat of the 200 backstroke, and 0 is Eden Rowe for Northampton. 1 Elliot Barker for Northampton. 2 Sebastian Ebanks for Derby Excel. Finley Caudle of Repton in 3. 4 Lewis Warner for Leander. 5 Jack Franz for Worksop. 6 Laurel Roberts Burrell for Leander. 7 is Ethan Randall for Corby. 8 Martin Ian Cov for Derby Phoenix. 9 Finley Gibson for the City of Leicester. Turning first at 50. Well, very close there between Warner and Franz. 103.84 for Warner to put him second. 6.8 for Jake Franz meant that he turned first, and those two, well, almost impossible to separate them on this third 50. As I've said before, you don't necessarily know where someone else is on backstroke, but you have a pretty good chance if you're in the lane next to each other, purely because you can see them on the turn. When you do your turn, you'll get a glimpse of them to your side, and that can really push you on. 138.51 for Warner now puts him ahead only by 4/100ths of a second at that 50, but Warner is really charging in the last few meters now And you can see there that he is almost certainly going to come into the wall first. Touches in 138 point. Sorry, he doesn't touch in 138 point. He touches in 211.66. Second is Jake Franz in 212.81. And third is Finley Caudle in 215.52. Finley Gibson comes into the wall to round off the heat. Confirmed result will display there for you. Warner, Franz, Caudle. First, second, and third. Swimmers in this next heat then. 0, Jack Goldfinch. 1, Thomas McMahon, both for Loughborough Town. Ben Gibbons of Northampton in 2. Oliver Silver for Radford in 3. 4 is Ethan Lawton for Derby Excel. 5, Ethan Riches. For the City of Lincoln, Sam Cook of Corby in 6. 7, Malachi McGuinness for Bassett Law. City of Leicester have Jack Burston in 8 and Matthew Dizon in 9. Into this second of the cyclical heats. Only 5 total heats in this 200 backstroke, so we are already using cyclical seeding here. And all that means is that lane 4 is expected to swim better, that bit better than everybody else, because they will be more places up the seeding. Usually the 10 seeds closest to each other will all be seeded together, but in this case we jumble up the last 30 seeds. So the fastest person in the second heat will be seed number 2, and the slowest person will be seed number 29. Over first at halfway, 104.49 for Ethan Lawton of Derby Excel. And, well, often we expect to see the swimmers in the centre that bit ahead of everybody else, but it's all quite a jumble in this penultimate heat of the 200 back. It is the centre swimmer Ethan Lawton who is leading, and he turns there in 137.60, but Lawton kind of the anomaly in terms of doing what we'd expect based on entry times. It is definitely going to be Ethan Lawton in first. He enters on a 206.30. Approaches the wall in a finish time of, drum roll please, 210.05. The second place touch there was Ben Gibbons in 214.26. Sam Cook third in a 214.5. Very tight between those two. And our final heat of the 200 backstroke is coming up. 0 in this one is James Ganner-Scott for City of Leicester. Archie Dandy for the City of Leicester is in 1. Ezra Lambert for Repson in 2. Cameron Jameson for Repson in 3. 4. Tom Barden for Loughborough Uni. 5 is George Whittle for Derby Excel. 6. Thomas Daft for Colville. Nathan Morgan of Repton is in 7. 8 is Lewis Shorthose for Mansfield. 9 is Thomas Bruce for South Links. Fastest seed into the competition is Tom Barden of Loughborough Uni in the middle there. 1:58.20 is his entry time, which certainly isn't slow. Under 2 minutes for a 200 backstroke. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that that is considered to be pretty impressive. And well, nobody, it would seem, is going to catch Tom Barden here. He is really going for it on this 200-metre backstroke. Some of these cyclical seats have been closer than you might expect cyclical heats to be, but this one doesn't seem to be going that way. That said, there are 8 seconds between Barden and Whittle. Barden with the 1:58 to 2:06.93 for Jacob Whittle, for George Whittle in lane 5. Approaching the wall, and Tom Barden is certainly going to take this into the wall in, what's the finish time? 2:07.05. 2:07.05 for Tom Barden. And that result confirmed on the board for you there. 2:07 for Barden. George Whittle second. Cameron Jameson third with a 2:15.87. And we'll move in a moment to the 400 IM. 5 heats of this to come. The first of which has just 3 swimmers. Amelie Monga for Nova in 3. Daniela Bringeman for South Links in 4. Gracie May Cole for the City of Lincoln in lane 5. 8 lengths of the pool. 2 of them fly, 2 of them back, 2 of them breast, 2 of them freestyle.
Just a reminder, reloading declarations needed by 12:30 latest. Any times, extras, anything like that. And the declarations need to go to event control, please. Any withdrawals, finals, reserves, whatever, need to go to the medal and trophy table by the changing room. Because they like to see people, it's a bit quiet at the moment.
And if you get it done now, they might still have some spare bacon and sausage hot in there. They couldn't give them away earlier.
No, they event control, that's not over there. Medal table over.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
400 to go.
Well, Daniela Bringeman has been in the lead on this 400 IM for almost all of it. Enters on a 5:43.40, but that's a conversion time, and that's what we've got to be a little bit careful with these entry times, because some swimmers do swim better short course, and it means that their converted long course time, which is accepted at a regional event, can be slightly misleading. Her best time in the 400 medley is 5:47.77, swum in December 21. She comes into the wall. How close is she going to be to that time? She's going to be there or thereabouts, you know. Yeah, 5:46.19 is a new lifetime best for Daniela Bringeman of South Links. Gracie May Cole is second in 5:50.44. Amelie Monger will be coming into the wall third in just a moment. There we go, 5:59.54. As we move to Heat 2. Zero in this one is Abby Tunnicliffe for Derby Excel. Matilda Hayes of Derby is in 1. 2, Mia Matthews for Northampton. Janet Fung for Nova in 3. 4, Evelyn Jackson for Bassett Law. 5 is Kate Pearson for Chesterfield. 6 is Millie King for Derby Excel. 7, Alexandra Hallam Stott for Grantham. 8 is Lily Hamilton for South Links. 9 is Orla Ayton Jones for Corby.
Merchandise is going well in meeting room 1, so if you're thinking about it, you probably need to think about it sooner rather than later. Sporty swing all there. I think they're going to have Swiss cafe.
Oh, the last race had a clear leader pretty early on. This one far more open. Very difficult to pick out any individual swimmer. Halfway turn and 2:37.84 for Mia Matthews in lane 2 puts her first at the moment. 2:31.08 for Orla Ayton Jones in lane 9 puts her second. but I have a feeling that things may change up on this third leg. Everything always changes in a medley on the breaststroke. And it has there. Ola Ayton-Jones is now leading from lane 9. That is a difficult place to lead a race from. If you can do it though, and if you can maintain your focus on just your own swim, then all credit to you. But Ola Ayton-Jones was over first at 250 metres, 3:28.15. 3:28.38 for Mia Matthews, so it was very, very tight between those two. Has dropped back now slightly, Ayton-Jones, as we turn for 100 to go. I think that might have been lane 4 over first. Sorry, lane 5 over first. Kate Pearson in 4:16.67 did turn first, and turned first by a couple of seconds actually according to the board there, but Mia Matthews still going strong now onto the freestyle. 4:18.04 was her split with 100 to go. Turning for 50, and I think this is going to be Mia Matthews in lane 2 over first. She is in 4:55.31, 4:56.32 now for Kate Pearson, so she enjoys almost a full second, 0.9 of a second on Kate Pearson in 5 now. About to come into the wall, and this is going to be Mia Matthews. Do a last-minute charge from lane 3. Puts Janet Fung in second, so 5:31.37 for Mia Matthews. Second, Janet Fung. Third, Kate Pearson.
Lane 1, Francesca Hallam-Stock, Grantham. Lane 2, Lily Taffen, Kirby. Lane 3, Abby Mitchell, City of Leicester.
Third heat is go. 0 is Poppy Scotchbrook for the City of Leicester. Francesca Hallam-Stott of Grantham is in 1. 2 is Lily Tappen for Corby. 3, Abby Mitchell for the City of Leicester. 4, Eleanor Broughton for Repton. 5 is Henrietta Dimassa for Repton. Millie Wells from the City of Leicester is in 6. 7 is Grace Turner for Grantham. 8, Olivia Beard for Nova. 9, Elizabeth Palfrey for Loughborough. .33.04 for Broughton. 33.07 for Dimassa. If we keep this up, then we're in for a very interesting 400 medley race. 0.03 between them on the first 50. This is the first of the 3 cyclic heats. So Broughton third fastest in. The 2 Repton teammates seem to be going for it.
Heat 3. And Elena Broughton of Repton is a good 2-3 weeks up here. Heat. Again, Broughton medals are negative split each 50 now. That's what the best 400 medal swimmers do. Broughton's still in the lead here. With 5 minutes so far. So Broughton from Repton turns now. In lane 5, Henrietta Massa of Repton. Turns down. Broughton turns the time on 4:58.6, obviously 5 minutes to benchmark. Standard benchmark,
Into the last 25 meters. Then of this 400 medley and Eleanor Broughton in 4. It was close between her and Henrietta Diamassa after the fly. However, now we are reaching the end. Broughton is taking it with ease. 5:04.40 for Eleanor Broughton. She enters on a 4:58.60, but as I said, that's probably a conversion time. 5:04.40 for Broughton. Second is Henrietta Diamassa, and third is Abby Mitchell.
there's a swing flag in number 4, so just hold on a minute.
Heat 4 is go. It's Beatrice Finch for South Links. 3, Darcy Platts for the City of Leicester. 4, Holly Robinson for Repton. 5 is Olivia Kingsland for Nova. 6, Alice Streeter for the City of Leicester. 7 is Chloe Daybell for Nova. 8, Shay Stewart for Nova. 9 is Katie Taylor for Chesterfield. Olivia Kingsland in 5, leading this from the off and continuing to lead as we turn for halfway to 29.51 as a 200 metre split in his 400 medley. Kingsland, distance freestyle specialist, won the 1500 freestyle at Corby last weekend. Quite common to pair the 400 medley with a distance freestyle swim too, but can sometimes mean, and I'm purely speculating here, potentially a controversial comment to make, but people who enjoy distance freestyle often breaststroke is not their favourite stroke in the world. Could well not be the case in this example though. Kingsland holding her own on this breaststroke 100. 25 metres left of this third portion of the 400 medley. And Kingsland shows no signs of slowing. Being in lane 5, it makes her the 5th fastest competitor on paper. 5:01.54. That will be an actual entry time for her based on a 50-metre pool, which is important. And there is a lot of clear water between here and between her, and the rest of this heat. Turning now for 50 to go, and it's 4:35.69 on the clock for Kingsland at that turn. No one's going to catch her in this heat. Be interesting to see how close she goes to the 5:04.40. And remember, I did mention this yesterday, the 400 events only have one final in the entire age group, so you've got to beat everybody in order to get into the final. It's the top 10 swimmers across all 5 heats that qualify. First in 5:09.10 for Olivia Kingsland. 5:09.10 will put her into tonight's final comfortably, I am sure. Slower than Broughton's 5:04.40, but we would expect that based on her ranking within the programme here. And final heat of the 400 medley to come. After that, we've got a set of men's 50 fly, finishing the session off with the women's 200 breaststroke in a few moments. But as I said, one last heat of the 400 medley first. Zero in this one is Sophie Martin for Chesterfield. Philippa Hickman of Nova is in 1. 2, Lily Freeman for Northampton. 3, Olivia Hunter for the City of Leicester. 4, Kate Morris for Nova Centurion. 5, Holly Marshall for Repton. 6 is Lily Jackson Oates for Nova. 7, Chloe Hopkinson for Grantham. And then Nova have Jessica Cater in lane 8 and Freya Jones in lane 9.
To alleviate some of the pressure on poolside, it has been decided that clubs where swimmers are all over 18, i.e. 2 universities, can sit on the spectator balcony. It is not a general rule for all swimmers as the team managers. pressure. It is just the universities because all their swimmers are over 18. If you're understanding, go for it.
So the first heat at the 400 medley. Ollie Marsh represents in the first round. Kate Morris represents in third. Second, sorry. Third, Olivia Hunter, Leicester.
Well, Holly Marshall in lane 5 has a commanding lead on this final heat. I could have saved that far better there. 4:59.49 entry time. Again, that will be an actual long course time for the Repton swimmer. And Kate Morris enters on a 4:53.50, but Morris trailing here by a considerable way. Turn in 4:27.04 for Marshall. Morris turn in 4:35.70. We're looking at 6 seconds difference between the two swimmers with 15 to go. It is going to be Holly Marshall that takes this heat by a long, long way. What's her finish time going to be? It's almost sub 5 minutes. She's going for lane 4 in this final. 5 minutes, 0.86 makes her way, way faster than anybody else going into tonight's final. She'll go straight into lane 4. Olivia Hunter is second. Kate Morris is third. But Holly Marshall, what a swim from her. Just outside her entry time, a second and a half, so she has more to give, but she did swim that on her own, and you'd hope she'll have some swimmers to go out with in the final this evening, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Well, we're going to fly through the next 11 heats. No pun intended, because they are 11 heats of 50 meters butterfly. Just 3 swimmers in the first heat. Bruce D goes in free for Harry Cottrell 5, Harrison House.
Lane 3, Bruce G. Northampton. Lane 4, Harry Cottrell, Hinkley.
Well, Bruce D is swimming here as a paraswimmer. S6 is his classification. And the British record in the S6 category is 32.07, so he'd have to be up there with the boys swimming in the lead if he wanted to break that. I'm pretty sure that Bruce does hold a few British para records as well. Anyway, this is Harrison Holmes who touches first, 31.66. Second, Harry Cottrell in a 31.8. 36.93 is well under Bruce's entry time. As we move on to the second heat of the 50 fly, Harry Pyatt of Works Up in 1, Oliver Selney for Lauf in 2, Zach Silcock for Carlton Forum in 3, 4, Jake Adams for Lauf 5, Magnus Noble for Burcoats, 6 is Luke Chambers for Nova, 7, Riley Ernington for Swadlincote, 8 is Lucas Granville for Nova Centurion. 25 metres left. I did say we would fly through these, and it's close between 5 and 6 here. Magnus Noble in 5, Luke Chambers in 6. Which of these two is going to get there first? I think it's going to be Chambers as he hits the wall in 29.06. Well, he'd entered on a time over 30 seconds, 30.40, and he's just gone 29.06. In fact, free swimmers went under 30 seconds there. None of them expected to, based on their entry time, so that was a very fast heat. Third heat, Jake Bohr of Sutton in 0, Andrew Edgar of Chesterfield in 1, Lewis Finch for the City of Leicester in 2, Finn Reid for Loughborough in 3, 4, Lewis Wall for Kimberley, 5, Jack Zavisha for Grantham, 6, Daniel Doyle for Kettering, Mark Jourdain of Buxton in 7, David Bucher for Works Up in 8, and 9 is James Duggan for Swadlincote. 4 seems to have the lead here with 3 coming with. That's Lewis Wall in 4, Finn Reid in 3. As they approach the wall here, it's going to be 3 or 4, or maybe even 0 could sneak this. Jake Bohr swimming well on the outside. It is Reid there first, 29.82, 29.98 for Bohr to touch second. Third, Lewis Wall. .28.82. Now the fastest time in the pool so far. 4 feet. Christopher Oliver of Long Eaton goes in 0. Harry Maskery for Belpermarlin in 1. 2, Alex Sadler for South Links. Connor Allen of Wellingborough in 3. 4, Sam Mesa for Repton. 5, Cameron Bell for Rushton. 6, Oscar Goldsmith for South Links. 7, Bailey Saunders for Dronfield. Nova have Jamie Love in 8 and Evan Hawley in lane number 9. 25 metre mark is going to be it's going to be a wash. There's 6 or 7 swimmers who made that 25 metre mark at practically the same time, and as these heats progress, we're probably going to see the times get closer and closer, and the finishes become too close to call with the naked eye. That could have been 4, but it could also have been 9. It was lane 4, Sam Mesa, 28.89. That was slightly slower than the last heat. Evan Hawley second, he was in lane 9. And then it was joint third, Alex Sadler and Oscar Goldsmith, both on 29.25. Heat 5, and Liam Hill of Nova is in 0. Oliver Henshaw for Belpermarlin in 1. Martin Iankov for Derby Phoenix in 2. City Leicester have Paul Page and Tyler Holland in 3 and 4. 5 is Cole Stevens for Chesterfield. 6, Alexander Menshutskin for Kettering. 7, Oliver Stone for Ripley. 8, Cole Angel for Grantham. 9, Joshua Clark for 8 Cole Angel for Kettering, 9 Joshua Clark for Grantham, 25. Already completed here, 4 and 6 look strong, as does lane 8. That's Holland in 4, Stevens in 5, Angel in 8 as we approach the wall. Wow, that was again very, very tight indeed. Holland was there first, 28.29, 28.45 puts Alexander Menshutskin second, and Cole Angel is third. Holland now stepping up that pace as the fastest we've seen so far, 28.29 from that swimmer in lane 4 on our previous heat that we just saw there. This is heat 6. Lane 0 is Flynn Mulligan for Repton, 1 Thomas Beach for Bramcote, 2 Joel Tannehill for Ripley, Jack Taylor of Leicester Sharks is in 3, 4 Harry McKerney for Sutton, Ewan Hayes Wormel for Worksop is in 5, 6 Oliver Rann for Carlton Forum, 7 Aman Tethi for Rushton, 8 is Zach Frisbee for Radford, 9 is Isaac Banham for Skegness. And once again in a straight line, 4 seems to be pulling slightly ahead here, but actually keep your eye on lane 1. Thomas Beach looks strong. They come into the wall with Beach first, 28.03 is the new fastest so far. Harry McKerney is second with a 28.56, 28.7 for Ewan Hayes Wormel, puts him in third place. 5 under 29 there. And this will probably be the first time we see swimmers go sub 28. Joshua Kettlewell of Redford goes in 0. Ewan Cox for the City of Lincoln in 1. Jared Collins for Nova in 2. Tyler Coles for Daventry in 3. 4 Thomas Summer for Hinkley. Charlie Miller for Skegness in 5. 6 is Alfie Bisbee for South Link. 7 Henry Pawson for Notts Leander. 8 Noah Van Hoorbeek for Chesterfield. 9 is Albert Mulsher for Rushton. And this is going to be another outside smoker. Lane 1, Ewan Cox is going to take it here. He does in 27.20. Wow. So we've just, from the previous fastest time to this fastest time, we've just knocked off almost a full second, 0.8 of a second faster there was Thomas Summer than the previous fastest swim, 27.30 for Miller. Exactly a tenth behind. 27.70. Third place was exactly half a second behind Laurel Roberts. Burrell of Leander goes in 0 on this one. Lewis Shorthose of Mansfield in 1. 2 James Dobney for Grantham. Grillamo Sierra Veal for Chesterfield in 3. 4 Callum Kettlewell for Bassetlaw. 5 Oliver Silver for Radford. 6 is Matthew Debenham for Northampton. 7 Thomas Bruce for South Links. 8 is Luke Waterfall for Ripley. 9 Max Balderson for Rushton. 15 to go. 3 seems to be the standout swimmer here. Guillermo Ville, will he get into the wall first? That's going to come on to who has the better finish, because, wow, that was again very, very tight. 27.36 for Roberts Burrell. Ville was their second, so it was actually lane 0 that was in first. And then joint third again, Shorthose and Silver in lanes 1 and 5, 27.74. Where did Robert Burrells come from on that heat there? Goodness me. Last 3 cyclical heats now. These should hopefully be a little bit less. A little bit less. Close. 0 Oliver Osborne, Derby Excel. Kyle Merriweather of Radford is in lane 1. 2 Mario Vasconcelos, Blanche Northampton. Cameron Jameson of Repton in 3. Adam Metcalf of Loughborough Uni in 4. Teammate Joshua Go in 5. 6 Daniel Owen Nichols Nova. 7 Malachi McGuinness for Bassetlaw. 8 is Harry Milne for Repton. 9 Thomas Stevens Daventry. And this is going to be between 5 and 4, as you would expect. Metcalf in 4 takes it in 26.10. Well, Joshua Go, I said there'd be less close. He's only 4 100ths behind. Vasconcelos Blanche gets in there in 3rd place. We'll see him come up in the 16 years final later. Sorry, in a 15 years final later.
Heat 10.
10th heat, Joseph Parnell of City Lincoln in 0. 1 Tom Truman for Nova. 2 Alfie Silver for Radford. Loughborough have Ashley Donaldson in 3. Michael Ripper in 4. Daniel Senkus in 5. 6 Ruben West. 7 is Leo Pollock for Repton. 8 Lewis Warner for Leander. And 9 is Aaron Warren for Northampton. 25 metres left to go. 25 done, 25 to go. And this, I said these would be less close, but I'm completely wrong, really. Because Ripper in 4 should have a substantial lead. And he does, but it's only by a fraction of a second. 26.74 for Michael Ripper to touch first. Sorry, 25.74 for Ripper to touch first. 26.12 for Ruben West. Third, Daniel Genkus. 25.74 for Ripper is the fastest. That was a Loughborough 1-2-3. And heat 11, final heat. Ezra Lambert of Repton in 0. James Annable for Kettering in 1. Jacob Mills for the City of Leicester in 2. Ryan Coles for Rushton in 3. 4 Jake Hutchinson for the City of Leicester. Thomas Exel for Loughborough Uni in 5. 6 Elliot Day for Uni of Nottingham. 7 Jack Stretton for Colville. Thomas Boyt of Northampton in 8. 9 Lewis Brown for Ilkeston. Jake Hutchinson fastest in, 25.04, just 17 years of age, is the City of Leicester swimmer in the centre. He's fighting with some big boys that were mainly in the previous heat for his spot in the final. But look at this. This has been probably the least close heat of them all so far. Hutchinson takes it. What's the time? 25.48. 25.48 for Jake Hutchinson is going to put him in as favourite to the final this evening. Thomas Exel, 26.13. Ryan Coles third with a 26.33. Well, it will be interesting to see if Hutchinson can do it again, really, in the 50. He did the 100 yesterday. And he will be favourite into the 50 fly final this evening. We now have a change of pace, a change of gear as we move to the girls' 200 metres breaststroke. Just 3 swimmers in our first heat. Sophia Litchfield of Chesterfield is in 3. Isabel Walczak for Penguins in 4. Eva Lemon for Derby Phoenix in lane 5.
Water bottles, hats, jumpers, proper nice hoodies as well they are. I like the green ones. And they've got the t-shirts as well, but they are running stock as obviously they're going to put them on the final. So if you want something, you need to get there sharp.
Sophia Litchfield of Chesterfield has led this race pretty consistently from the off. This actually is her first time swimming a 200 breaststroke long course. You can, of course, qualify, as I said, with a short course conversion, which is exactly what she did. Her short course time was 3:07.47. She's just gone 3:11.42. Understandably outside her short course time, but as her first long course swim, that is a 200 breaststroke long course PB for her. Isabel Walkaz was third there, with Eva Lemon in second. Tight between those two. Only less than a second between them as we come on to our second heat of the 200 breast. Isla Perry Taylor of Belpen Marlin goes in 0 on this one. Libby Buckby for Arnold in lane 1. Amelie Munger for Nova in 2. 3 is Tegan Gray for Gainsborough. Grace Twitten for the City of Lincoln in 4. 5 is Sophia Whiffen for Corby. 6 Isabel Kimber for Ripley. 7 is Lola Harmshaw for Radford. 8 Zara Dixon for the City of Lincoln. And 9 is Lucy Carter for Louth.
So it still is Grace Twill from City of Lincoln Vets Aqua. Lola Harmshaw on Radford in second. It's not really altering there in that order. 15 to go.
Closing stages of this second heat of the 200 breaststroke, and lane 4, Grace Twilton is going to take this heat. Finish time 3 minutes, 0.24. Second is Sophia Whiffen in a 3:03.86. Third, Tegan Gray, 3:04. Hang on, it refreshed on the board there, so it is actually Twilton first, Harmshaw second, Whiffen third. 3 minutes 24 for Twilton, 3:02.13 for Harmshaw, and 3:03.86 for Whiffen. Moving on to heat 3. 0 here is Francesca Hallam-Stott for Grantham. Lily Rose Smith of Radford goes in 1. 2, Sophie Martin for Chesterfield. 3 is Summer York for Corby. 4, Lily Tappan for Corby. 5, Emily Wynne for the City of Leicester. 6 is Magenta Kenyon For Kettering, 7, Grace Wingham. For Kettering, 8, Daniela Bringeman for South Links. And 9 is Alice Green for Swadlincote. Again, approaching the end of the third heat of the 200 breaststroke. And lane 3 seems to be taking this one. Summer York of Corby. Turned first at 50, but only by fractions of a second. Wins far more comfortably, actually. 2:55.10. First time I've seen under 3 minutes so far. Second, Emily Wynn. Corby teammate of York, Lily Tappan, is third with a 2:57.86. Moving on to the fourth heat here. Zoe Nichols of Melton Mowbray is in 0. 1, Sophie Baker for Chesterfield. 2, Anna Farr for the City of Leicester. 3 is Ellie Ward for the Uni of Nottingham. 4, Kieran Harries for Loughborough Uni. In 5, Holly Robinson for Repton. 6 is Neve Dunbar for the City of Leicester. 7, Connie Renaud for Repton. 8, Amelia Bain Knight for Nova Centurion, and lane 9 is Amelia Roberts for Nova Centurion. This the first of our 3 cyclically seeded heats. Kieran Harries.
Kieran Harris is just a little bit ahead now, coming to the last turn. And 50 to go. Kieran Harris and Colin Robertson together.
Harries is first with 50 to go. 158.49 to 158.55. Only 6/100ths of a second between the two. And Robinson coming up pretty fast here. Loughborough Uni for Harries, Repton for Robinson. And Robinson certainly isn't going to let Harries go here. With 15 more left. This could come from either of them, actually. It is stroke for stroke. I think Robinson's gone past her. And Holly Robinson is going to take this heat in 2:39.24. 2:39.97 for Harries to finish second. Third came from Anna Farr in a 2:47.80. But Robinson, 2:39.24. Half a second plus ahead of Harries. Cyclic heat number 2, numbered heat 5. Zero here is Madeline Smurthwaite for the City of Lincoln. Ellie Parks for the City of Lincoln is in 1, 2. Eleanor Broughton for Repton. 3 is Fatini Kulkarni for the City of Leicester. 4, Kira Fletcher for Nova Centurion. 5 is Emily Farr for the City of Leicester. 6 is Olivia Anstey for Louth. 7, Chloe Daybell for Nova Centurion. 8, Beatrice Finch for South Links. 9 is Caitlin Butters for Bassett Law.
Lane 5, Emily Farr, City of Leicester. Lane 6, Olivia Maddy, Louth. Lane 8, Chloe Daybell, Nova. Lane 8, Beatrice Finch, South Lincolnshire. And lane 9, Caitlin Butters of Bassett Law.
Just ahead of Kira Fletcher from the Centurion. Then 3, Fatini Kulkarni from City of Leicester as well. On 16.6 for Emily Farr.
Emily Farr in lane 5 is leading things here. Kira Fletcher in second with Fatini Kulkarni just behind. These cyclical heats have been pretty close. Remember, we expect it to be weighted in lane 4's favour, and this is going to be the second one that I don't think is going to be won by 4. Fletcher is giving it a little bit more in this last few metres, I think, but not going to be able to chase down Emily Farr in 5. Farr takes the heat in what time? 2:40.59. Well, that's a little bit slower than Robinson went in the previous heat. 2:39.24. That's still the quickest time into the final, but 2:40.59 for Farr. will certainly place her in the final. It's just about which lane and where, and we won't know for sure until we've had heat 6, which is coming up, final heat of the session. And I am sure it is the final heat of the session. There are no more heats to come after this. If you heard my little error yesterday, we have checked all pieces of paper. There are definitely no more heats after this one. 0 is Charlotte Byron for Melton Mowbray. Philippa Hickman of Nova is in 1. Mabel Walker for Repton in 2. Lily Jackson Oates for Nova in 3. 4 is Hannah Bowley for Repton. 5, Paige Fenton for Loughborough. 6 is Chloe Hopkinson for Grantham. 7, Kate Andrews for the City of Leicester. 8 is Poppy Scotchbrook for the City of Leicester. And 9 is Matilda Herries for Loughborough.
Session 4 for the Swimingland East Midlands Regional Long Course Championship. Session 5 will start at 12 o'clock sharp and be finished for the next session start at 1 o'clock. And don't forget, please, you've got until 12:30 to have your relay team declarations in.
Hannah Bowley is miles ahead here. This is going to be the first line 4 win we've seen in the free cyclic heats here. She's over first with 50 to go, and the split time there was 155 point. And then Paige Fenton over second, 202. So she's got 7 seconds on the rest of the pool. That is a significant margin to enjoy. Bowley's entry time is her PB, and it was set earlier this month in Sheffield at British Champs to 30.02. And Bowley's going to take this heat. She's going to be the fastest into the final, surely. 2:36.04. That gives her 4 seconds on Holly Robinson. So the other women in the final really need to step up if they want to catch Bowley here. Just 18 years of age, the Repton swimmer, but going to take the regional gold medal tonight unless something changes in that final. Something quite significant changes, really. Jackson Oates second, Fenton third. And that concludes this session of the East Midlands Regional Championships 2023 here from Moorway Sports Village in Derby. Thank you so much for joining us on the stream. Swimming for this afternoon's session will get underway at 1 o'clock, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.